Hello, crafty friends. Good morning and happy World Card Making Day. It's fun to see so many of you out there in the comments. I'm glad you're here today to spend a little time with us and to celebrate this craft that we love so much. So it's a fun opportunity to get together, celebrate card making. I'm going to advocate for also World Card Making Day followed by World Card Sending Day. So I love that you all are making cards today, learning new techniques, finding out about new products, and then hopefully using those products to make projects that you can send out in the mail and bring a smile to someone's face. It really does make a difference. So that is your superpower as card makers. All right, let's say hello to some people today. I have Whitney here with me today.
Woo! Hi, friends!
Whitney's going to be helping out in the comments if you have questions as we go along, and we're going to have some fun together. So good morning, Tracy. Tracy says she loves my t-shirt. If you can't read it in the video, it says, "Today's Good Mood, sponsored by Card Making."
Absolutely!
I thought that was super fun and appropriate. And for those of you coming to our Stamp Joy event next week, it is in person in Des Moines, Iowa. This is a shirt that you had the opportunity to purchase ahead of time, so maybe you'll get one of your very own. And if not, and you love this shirt, maybe it's something we can bring out for everyone in the future. So good morning, Debbie. Hi, Sandra. Stacy's here. Excited to make some Christmas cards today. Well, good. That's what we're going to do. And we have Jane here. Hi, Sandy. Robin. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you here this morning. Stephanie, Rose, and Robin, Brenda. Lots of you watching. So thank you to Scrapbooking Cards today for giving me the opportunity to present on World Card Making Day. I'm excited to share one of my favorite techniques with all of you. And oddly enough, I've heard from a lot of people that this is not something they've seen before. So I'm really excited about that as well. Let's get started. I want to tell you first, before I get into the card making, just a little bit about what we have at Tailored Expressions planned for you for World Card Making Day. So I'm going to pop this graphic up on the screen. And with any order you place today, you're going to get a free package of white glitter cardstock. And you're going to find out why that white glitter cardstock is so cool, because that's what we're using today in our project. You can use the code WCMD with TE in your promotional code box to get that free package added to your order. And then you can see all of the fine print, valid today only. You must be logged into your account in order to apply the coupon, and it's limit 1 per customer. All right, let's get started.
Yay! Time to craft!
Okay, Whitney, it looks like my camera here is not pulling through, so okay. I'm gonna pop myself back up on the screen here just a second and see if that helps. I don't know if you want to try this one. Sorry, hang with us just a second here. We're gonna work with our technology and see if we can get this figured out. My down camera is not hooked into the live event right now, so I don't know if you want to shut the TV down. Maybe it's causing an issue. Yeah. We'll keep going. But I do want to show you guys some products. So I'll do that face on with the camera and see if we can get this this figured out. You might have to shut it down and okay, sorry. We've never had this happen before, so we're running on the fly here. Okay, so as I said, the free glitter cardstock. Here it is. Here's what that looks like. It is a package of glitter cardstock. We're all familiar with glitter cardstock. And the fun thing we're going to do today is we're going to blend color onto the glitter cardstock. And so you can make it any color you want depending on what color ink pads you have. So I have some samples to show you using that, but we also just released our new Christmas products this week, and that's what I'll be using in the live today. So let me show you the card we're going to be making. Here it is. See that pretty glittery cardstock? So that's all blended with different colors of ink, and that's including our new Christmas release. Okay, guess what, you guys? Whitney got it fixed.
Magic.
I love it. Okay, here we are. The down camera is working. Thank you for hanging with us there for just a second. Now you can see this maybe a little bit better. This is the project we're going to be making today. And in person, it pops even more. That glitter cardstock pops off of the page. And you can see the shimmer and the sparkle along with making it whatever color you want. So white, while we have many other colors of glitter cardstock, white is really the most versatile because you can make it whatever color you want by blending on it. So the new Christmas products that I'm using today include our new Garden Variety Poinsettia die set. It includes 4 different sizes of poinsettias that you can combine. This very largest one I did not use on the card today. It is pretty big. I think it could be fun to make napkin ring holders if anybody really sets their table fabulously for Christmas. That's what's in my head. I want to make a big napkin ring holder with the largest one. And then these smaller 3 are the ones that I used on the card today, along with leaves to coordinate and then your poinsettia centers. So that's the die set. And then we have our Mini to Mighty Christmas stamp. So it seems like when I'm crafting for Christmas, the front of my cards, I often want a sentiment very generic, something like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or Season's Greetings. But depending on the project that I'm creating, I might want something mini, something medium, or something mighty. So we created this Mini to Mighty set that includes these 3 sentiments in 3 different sizes. So you get Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Season's Greetings in mini, medium, and mega size. Mega, yes. We're going to be using the mega size on the project today in Happy Holidays. So those are the 2 products we're using on this project today. But I also wanted to show you some other samples using glitter cardstock that is blended. Look at this one. This is the same die set paired with our Garden Variety greenery. So you've got the holly leaves and the little sprigs that you can pair with these poinsettias. And look at how pretty that looks with that color on it and the shimmer that you get from the glitter cardstock. And then also we've got our fun sleigh here that has the white glitter cardstock on the top. Now that's not blended, it's just simply white, so you can use it just in white as well. And then this particular card has ornaments that are colored over white glitter cardstock. So
I love that.
Isn't that cute?
So bright and festive.
Super fun. So those are some of the other things you could do by blending over glitter cardstock. We've done this several times with different die cut pieces. We've done butterflies are really beautiful, blended with ink over glitter cardstock. And then just so you're aware, at TE, we always have a freebie. So when you spend $100 or $200, this is our freebie specifically for our Christmas release that just happened this past week. So we've got our Ho Ho Holidays 2 stencil that creates this cute nutcracker and the elves that are dancing on top of each other.
So fun.
So spend $100 and you get this for free, and you spend $200 and you get the coordinating dies along with the stencil. So that is happening only through next week, Tuesday, or while supplies last. So I've got a couple of samples to show you from our recent Christmas release as well. I know that's what everybody is thinking about these days is Christmas, because it is our time to shine as card makers, and we're all getting our Christmas projects out and ready to go. Okay, so we are going to start with creating the background for this card. And I did that on a dark colored cardstock. I really love how greenery can pop off of dark colors. And so I'm going to be using Sour Gummy. This is our Sour Gummy cardstock. I've already cut the die into the outer edge. I wanted to get that diagonal stitch to give it some extra texture. So I've done that. And in order to create that really moody background, I'm going to blend in from the edges using Sour Gummy ink. So you can find your blue blender brush. I can find my blue blender brush. And I'm just going to take my Sour Gummy ink off of the pad and pull that onto the cardstock all the way around the outer edges. So if you guys are shopping, particularly for anything used on this project, you can go to the Tailored Expressions website and you can click on Shop, and then in that drop-down menu all the way down at the right bottom is a category called World Card Making Day. And that's where our team has put everything that I'm using in that category so you can find it easily. Of course, you can search product names that I'm saying as well if that's easier for you. And then don't forget to use that coupon code to get your free glitter cardstock. Okay, so by leaving that center part without any ink on it, you get that really dark edge, gives it kind of a more pop, more dimension.
I love how you said this morning, you said it gives it some moodiness.
I know, it's a moody cardstock. I don't know, moody can have a bad connotation to it, like, my teenage daughters are moody. But also I think moody is a design choice that doesn't, in my mind, have a bad connotation to it. So if anybody else has teenage daughters, that's not the kind of moody I'm talking about.
This is good moody.
Right, the best moody. Okay, so let's go ahead and splatter this. So when I think about adding dimension, a lot of times I'll do that with blending or with dyes, and then also splatter is another way that you'll find me adding dimension to my card panels. And you can see without the splatter, this card just doesn't quite have the oomph that it does with the splatter. So I'm going to grab my splatter box. We're going to put this inside, and I'm actually splattering with two different mediums today. I'm going to grab this one. This is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. And I need my little mini glass board. So we often use this to mix our splatter. It is a glass board surface, so it's easy to wipe when you want to get it clean. It still has the 4 little feet on it. The real only difference from our regular glass board is it's not magnetic. So we use it particularly for kind of mixing our splatter mediums. So I'm going to take a paintbrush. You will most often, this is just dried stuff that got on my paper. You will most often find me using a number 4 paintbrush. And this medium here needs to be diluted before we splatter it onto our cardstock. So I just grabbed a little bit of it with my paintbrush, and then I'm going to dilute it with water. So I have my eyedropper bottle, maybe 3 to 4 drops of water. I'll start with 3. And then we'll mix that around with the paintbrush.
Megan says she loves your well-used splatter box. We don't splatter in the wild.
Right. I splatter a lot, and I like to keep it contained in a box. So this box does have its own special place in my craft studio, and you can see all of the splatters off to the side. One of the things I always talk about when I splatter as well, I always pick up my medium with my brush, and I start my splatter off to the side. So that's probably why you're seeing so much splatter over here. I want those biggest drops of splatter to fall on my cardboard and not on my cardstock. So when I've gotten some of the medium out of the brush, that's when I come back over to my cardstock and I get the finer drops of splatter. Of course, the bigger the brush you use, the bigger your splatter drops, which is why I told you the brush size that I like to use is a number 4. And usually on your brushes, when you purchase them, they are printed with a tiny little number. You can barely see that. I've kind of rubbed it off, but there is a little number 4 on this brush. Sometimes I'll use a number 2 as well, but if you get a lot bigger than that, it does give you some bigger drops. So before we take this out of the splatter box, we're going to go ahead and splatter with gold as well. Let me wipe up my glass board. You can let that dry and reconstitute it with water later. whatever you prefer to do in your craft area. I like to keep things clean so I don't accidentally drop something in it, run my completed card through it.
No!
Okay, so this is Gonzai Tombi liquid, or not liquid. This is pan watercolor, and I'm going to use this. I think I'll use the blue gold. You can see that's my favorite one. It's almost gone. So these need to also be constituted with water before you can blend with them. So I put 3 drops of water in there. And since this one's almost gone, I am going to have to really kind of grab it from the edges here, maybe with a little bit more water. I think I got enough here. Use up every last bit of that beautiful metallic watercolor. Okay, so a little bit of tapping off to the side to get the biggest drops off of the brush. And then we're going to come to the paper where we're getting those gold drops as well. Now, a lot of times, the other mediums that I use for splatter, we have at the TE store called Black Star. Dr. P.H. Martin's Black Star.
I love that one too.
I do, yeah. For this kind of dark background, the black splatter doesn't show up as well, so I didn't use that one this time. But the other one I love when I don't want quite black, I'll use our chocolate truffle liquid watercolor to splatter, which is a deep brown color. All right, let's hold this up for you guys, and you can see what that looks like. We're going to set it aside to dry while we get to the fun blending part of our card today. Okay, let's grab all of my pieces. I did do some pre-die cutting for you. I have one that I'm going to die cut with you, but I have many of them pre-die cut, so I'll bring them over into the screen here, and we will cut the one that we need to cut. And I've got my little centers as well. Let's set this somewhere that I don't mess it up. Okay, so this is the largest size that we're going to be using on the card today. Like I said earlier, we're not using the very largest poinsettia. You can see what that looks like here. This is the very, very largest one. But I have some other ones that we did for a project that I hadn't adhered to anything. So you can see them in red, just regular cardstock as well. Also, we did something earlier this week on our live where we did glitter tipped poinsettias, which is really fun also, just with loose glitter. So I had those just stuck in there. Now we're going to grab this one and go ahead and die cut.
People are loving your t-shirt. They're still commenting about it. It is not for sale, but we always say yet.
Yet, right. Well, if we get enough requests, then you might see something in the future because we know that it's going to be something people want. Okay, so here we are, glitter cardstock.
And we did have some question in the beginning about maybe you can talk about if glitter cardstock does anything to your blender brushes. Does it leave behind a residue or scratch them or any of that? So
yeah, good questions and good things to be concerned about, I think. But our glitter cardstock is a non-shed glitter cardstock. I don't know that that is true for every glitter cardstock out there. So if you don't have Tailored Expressions brand cardstock and you're trying it on some other glitter cardstocks, I would maybe test it with an old brush or something before you get started. But this does not shed with any pressure, and so using your blender brushes on it is not going to affect your blender brushes at all. So good questions. All right, let's start blending. So I'm going to use my tape. This is just my removable tape that I'm going to put on the back of here and tack it down to my glass board. So I'll do these in a few different sort of arrangements so I know what colors I need everywhere. I need, this one is cherry pop. So I'll put all of my cherry pop flowers over here. And then we need one more small one that is cherry pop. Okay. So there's my darkest red flowers. And the rest of my flowers are going to be guava is the color that I used. Experimenting with how the color looks on glitter cardstock is another thing I would encourage you to do, because it is not as intense as it is on regular white cardstock. So you might want to choose a darker color than what you would normally choose, because the glitter portion of the cardstock does lighten it up a bit and make it look lighter than the true color is. So I'm going to get out my red blender brush, and we will zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Okay, so cherry pop ink on these. This is the great part about the glass board, is we can just tack our flowers down. I don't have to hold them with my fingers. I love that.
I love that cleanup is a breeze.
Yep.
You do it for me now. I feel like I haven't had to clean things in a long time because it's so easy. You just wipe it away.
I know. I used to, in the not too distant past, I would just pile up my stencils for Whitney to take to the sink, occasionally. Mm-hmm. And now she doesn't have to do that anymore, because I just squirt it with alcohol and clean it as I'm going, and we're done. Okay, so guava is the next color that I am grabbing here. And we're going to blend that on these guys. And if you know Tailored Expressions ink, then what you're seeing here probably doesn't look like typical guava. And again, that's where the playing comes into the mix, where you just kind of got to experiment with the inks that you have. The other thing I would say about blending on glitter cardstock is it's harder to build up dimension with inks. So if I wanted to hit the edges with a darker ink, it doesn't do that quite as well as regular white cardstock, where you can really see that added dimension around the edges, which is why I kept this just kind of single color blending. All right, I need to hit one of these just a little heavier. I'm trying to figure out, no, this is gonna go on top of this, so just a little bit heavier on this one. So I'm really gonna give it some pressure and some extra ink on one of these small ones. Okay, so that's gonna go like that.
Stephanie is asking about our new color Jujube, and have you tried it with the glitter cardstock? Does it change the color enough that you feel like?
I think Jujube would be a great color to use with this. I haven't yet. I don't think there's a bad color to use with this. It's just about playing with it and recognizing that it is going to look a little bit different than what you maybe are expecting from the true ink color. Okay, let me grab my alcohol spray bottle again, and we'll clean this up.
Tiffany said, I love glittery shine, but I'm not a fan of the mess, so this is genius. Like, yes!
It's the best of all the worlds. Those of you that aren't loving getting out your loose glitter all the time, you can have a totally glittered piece of cardstock in every color that you want. Okay. Now for the leaves and the centers, I have the leaves here, and if I count in my project, I have 2 that are sweet basil and 4 that are green tea. So we'll go ahead and tack these down to the surface. And then we can blend them. I am going to need, one of the things I didn't put on my supply list for you, Whitney, was press and seal. If you could grab me that.
We do have another question. When blending on glitter cardstock, do you need to let it dry longer because the ink?
No, it dries just as fast as ink on regular cardstock. So pretty much immediately upon your finishing blending it, it is dry. Good questions, you guys. I love it. Okay, I am also going to do the flower or the little poinsettia centers at the same time. So we'll tack those down and thought it was in the top drawer up there. It's not? Oh.
I think we've been using it.
Well, I can get by without it if we can't find it, but okay, so green tea, sweet basil, and then honey for the centers. So these are the 3 colors that I'll be using. Let me grab honey first, and I'm using just a detail blender brush for this one. And really simple, just hit that with a little bit of ink. Okay, then we'll do sweet basil next. This one is more of a yellow green. And then green tea is more of a, I would call it a moss green. Both very pretty greens, and I like the idea of adding 2 different greens into the arrangement. All right, one more round of cleanup here. Let me get these off the glass board. I like using the removable adhesive when I'm doing this because it comes off obviously easier than a permanent adhesive. It does leave a little bit of stickiness on the back of the different pieces, but that's okay because we eventually want them to be sticky anyway. Okay, you found it.
Someone had placed it in the break room.
Oh.
Apparently they did not realize it is a
craft supply. Does anybody else have press and seal that you use in your kitchen and in your craft room? Or do you just bring it back and forth from your kitchen to your craft room? Or do you have a dedicated roll? And some of you are probably thinking, what are we going to use press and seal for in the craft room? So I'm about to show you. But we do typically try to keep our own roll yes. in the craft room. All right, I'm going to come back out just a little bit here. Press and seal. We are going to use this to help us arrange our flowers or poinsettias on this background. I do actually, before we get to arranging, I'm going to keep all of my goodies up here at the top, but we're going to do our sentiment because I did find when creating the arrangement for this, it helps to have your sentiment so you can sort of place it where you want it and then peek the flowers out from there. So let's go ahead and do that sentiment. I'm going to get out all of my embossing tools today. We have lots of great tools at TE to help you with your heat embossing. And heat embossing for me was one of the first card making techniques that I tried. And really, it was the one that got me hooked on card making. My first kind of intro to heat embossing was making all of my own thank you cards for my wedding over 20 years ago. And it's just one of those techniques that is, wow, how did that happen? Yes. It's like magic. So, okay, if you have not heat embossed before, I'm going to give you some new tips. And even if you are a pro, you might gain something from learning about how I do heat embossing. So we're going to use the Mini to Mighty Christmas set. And as I said, we're going to use the large Happy Holidays, the largest Happy Holidays sentiment. If you're using a MISTI, when you're using rubber stamps, make sure you take that black pad out of your MISTI because this is rubber and it's a little bit higher. You don't need that black pad. So that's first step. Then we're going to place that over the sour gummy cardstock, pick it up with the lid of the MISTI. And then a very important step, we talk about powdering, adding a powder or an anti-static powder to your cardstock before you stamp it. That helps when you apply the embossing powder. It helps the embossing powder come off of the cardstock, because there are things in your cardstock, moisture, there can be like fingerprints, or you have oils in your fingers from touching the cardstock. And this powder just helps that embossing powder to stick only where we want it to. So I just pounced our powder tool. You can see what the lid looks like. It is skin safe, so you just pounce it across your cardstock, and if you need a little powder on your cheeks, it is skin safe. I always just like to say that, but it is meant for your cardstock to give an anti-static effect. So after we've pounced that across our cardstock, I'm going to take Versamark ink, and we're going to stamp the sentiment with that.
It sounds like, back to the press and seal, most people have a dedicated roll.
Okay.
So
we're going to have to figure.
Craft room on this roll.
Right. I'm thinking our cleaning crew came into the office last weekend, and I'm thinking they probably thought they were being helpful if it was sitting out on the countertop by moving it to the kitchen. All right. Then we're going to pull this out of the MISTI, and I'm going to grab a little piece of scrap paper.
Can you talk about our powder tool? People are asking, when you first get it, can you tell them about removing that cap? And then they would like to know why you have the washi tape around the edge too.
Yes, so I can actually peel this washi tape off, because that will help you guys understand. It is kind of, we do have this on our website, and I mention it as often as I remember to, but it is kind of funny when people think that their powder tool isn't working, or they haven't gotten it to work. That's because when we had them manufactured, if you twist off this silver part here, you can see that's where the powder is housed. We do have a refill for the powder, so if your powder runs out, you can add more powder in. But when it's manufactured, there is a clear plastic disc right above this level here, which is going to prevent the powder from coming out of here and into here. That's just because, things shake around and move around during shipment, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't end up with a shipment full of powder tools with no powder in them. So when you get yours the very first time, take that clear disc out and throw it away. It is trash. And then just twist it right back on. And that brings me to the other good point with the washi tape. So a lot of times it's hard for our brains to, old habits die hard, right? We're used to twisting caps off of things. Well, this cap is a pull cap. You just pull it off. However, people still twist it when they open it, which then untwists this silver ring part here. And I've had and seen people who have had a mess on their hands if this gets untwisted, and you might not notice it even, and you turn your powder tool upside down, and all of a sudden the bottom comes off and all the powder comes out. So what we do in our craft room, we have these pretty washi tapes. I'm sure you guys all have those too. We actually put some tape across this silver ring part, which is easy to get off when you want to refill your tool, but it keeps this part in place even if you tend to be a twisty lid remover. It's going to keep your bottom piece from coming off. So it also serves as a nice pretty decoration.
We decorate our tools.
Right. But there you have it. That is why. Hopefully I didn't talk too long to make my powder not stick to the Versamark that I have here, but looks good. So I placed gold powder over the top of my stamped sentiment. Now we're going to put the rest of that back in here. And the other tool we have to help in your heating is what we call mini mitts. They go on your thumb and your forefinger, and you can use it to hold your piece of cardstock so that when you're heating close by your sentiment, you're not burning your fingers. These are made of silicone, so they are heat resistant, and they're going to keep your fingers from burning. And they're cute and fun. And you can use them to eat Cheetos while you craft. All right, so as we're heating, you can see I'm staying in the same spot until that powder is heated and it turns that bright gold, and then I'm moving on. So one of the things that I often see people doing when they first start embossing is they're just taking that heat gun and waving it around like this. I like to keep the heat gun pretty stable on the same area until it turns, and then just move it to the next area. No waving. And if you do get your powder overheated, what's going to happen is the powder's actually, instead of being raised on your cardstock, it's going to sink into your cardstock and almost look greasy. You can most tell when you're embossing white on black cardstock. And I would maybe encourage you, if you just have a moment to play with it, to actually try overheating it. And then you'll see what it looks like. And then you'll know in the future, like, oh, I overheated that. I've seen that before. Okay, so the powder tool does leave a residue on our cardstock after I have embossed it. I'm going to take my little microfiber cloth and just buff the powder off the cardstock, and that's going to bring back that really bright shade of that cardstock. And then let's go ahead and die cut this with the coordinating die.
We have a question about embossing on glitter cardstock.
Oh, okay. That is not something I have tried often. And I think it's going to be very difficult because actually, I don't think I've ever tried it. If you touch your glitter cardstock, even though your glitter's not shedding, it has some texture to it, which means that even when using a powder tool, your embossing powder is likely going to get stuck in those textured bits of the glitter cardstock. So you can play with that, and if you feel like you're getting a good result, those would be my thoughts or cautions on that. Okay, let's do Happy Holidays die. And we'll just tack this down and send it through.
Several people have said they also got into card making because of the wow of embossing.
Yes, it is. It's magic. Right before your eyes, this powder turns into something bright and shiny and beautiful. So, okay, there's our sentiment. Let me pull in my pieces now that we have blended, and we'll start adhering and creating these. Is there this one might be empty.
Oh, the glue?
Yeah, it's feeling pretty empty, but I'll try it here.
Okay.
Okay, so I got it.
Okay.
All right, let's take this biggest one, and I'm just going to start gluing these together. I'm going to take the lighter and smaller one and arrange the petals of the poinsettia so they're kind of pointing in between the larger petals. And then we'll go back and take the smaller one and kind of shift those so that they're going in the opposite open corners. And then last, we've got our little center.
Another great question. Would you recommend or not recommend blending on your cardstock first and then die cutting?
I don't think it matters either way.
Okay.
Yep. Good question, but I usually die cut first because then I have leftover white cardstock that I can use. If I blend over the cardstock first, in order to get the full area blended, you've got to use more cardstock than what you're going to end up die cutting. So then that leaves you with less to use up as scrap later. So I think that's probably my reasoning for die cutting before I blend, but I don't think it matters. Okay, there's that one. So we have a triple stacked poinsettia, a double stacked poinsettia, and then a single small guy here. Gluing each of those together so our poinsettias are done. Now, if I start to follow along, those of you who, craft in your own, when you craft in your own craft room, okay, I'm going to fuss with this arrangement. I've already done that step. So now we get to just copy this arrangement, and I'm going to take my poinsettia here. I'm going to grab 2 of those leaves, and we're going to just adhere the leaves together first in about the same spot. It doesn't have to be perfect, but they already even have some adhesive on the back of them. And then I'm going to make sure that I've got some glue underneath here where this little piece can stick in. And even if you don't have the exact card, you can sort of just kind of make a generalized guess on where those leaves should be poking out of the poinsettia. All right, here's this one. So we're going to have one little sweet basil leaf coming off of this edge. And then another smaller leaf coming out of the bottom here. Right in here. Okay. I think my glue's running out, so I gotta keep it pointed down, otherwise it doesn't want to come out for me. Might be time to get a new bottle.
I know, I was just thinking, I probably need to refill that. We use it so often.
All the time. Okay, so there's what that one looks like. And then this last one. There we go. This little guy has 2 leaves on the edges as well. I'm going to get my stand up here because every time I set it down on its side, my glue comes back, doesn't come down to the top. And then I have to wait. Hold, please. All right, let's see. Okay. This one's going to go here. I cut all the same size leaf, but there are different size leaves in the pack too. So if you wanted to use some of those smaller ones, they would work with this little guy as well. Okay. And then a leaf coming out this way. About like that. Okay, so we have our 3 poinsettias. And it's time to do our arrangement now. So I'll grab that moody piece of cardstock from earlier, and I have my sentiment, so we can position that as well. We're going to take this piece, put it about where I think I want it, and then this one down here. Now let's do this. We're going to put that Happy Holidays on here, and I'm just going to fuss with it just a little bit more to get the best arrangement of these poinsettias with the sentiment. Twist and turn just a little bit. That's where I want my sentiment. This is the fussy part that we do as crafters that makes a difference when you get done. Okay. So something about like that. I like that. I'm going to pick up the sentiment now. Oh, and move that in the process. Let me see. Okay. We're going to take that sentiment away, and I'm going to grab a piece of press and seal. So if you haven't seen this little trick before, it's a good one. We need another box of press and seal too. This is almost gone. So with that kind of sticky side down, I'm going to place that over my arrangement just where I have it laid out. And I'm going to press into place, really pressing on that press and seal. If you do use it in the kitchen, you know that's the whole purpose, is to press it over a bowl or something, some kind of container that you want to keep fresh. I'm not pressing onto the blue piece because I want to pull this back up now, slowly, making sure that my project is coming with it. I might have a little bit of trouble because I also have adhesive on the back of my poinsettias, but as long as you grab, you know, slowly as you come off of this blue piece, your flowers, your poinsettias will stay in place on your piece of press and seal. Just like that. So now we know, once we can turn this over and put adhesive on the back, we know that our poinsettias are going to come right back where we want them to. So I'm going to take this piece now and put adhesive on the back. You can use liquid or foam if you want to pop it up. I'm actually going to pop up the sentiment in the center, so this guy wanted to not stay down. Okay, one more little piece to add. Glue to. Okay, a little more over here. I'm gonna make sure this one decides he wants to stay put. Okay, we'll pick that up. Flip this over and tack it down centered on our piece. And then you can just press it into place. Your adhesive, your liquid adhesive, is going to hold on to that blue cardstock. And then we can slowly peel up the press and seal layer. Now when we bring back the sentiment, we know that's going to fit just perfectly right in the center like this. So I'll grab my foam tape. And actually I'm going to use these pre-cut square ones. We have lots of different foam tapes at TE. We have some that come already cut for you. That's what I'm using here, these little foam squares. The great part is, if you need them a little bit smaller, you can take your scissors and just trim them. I could find my scissors.
Oh, scissors!
Oh, how have I gotten all the way through this without a scissors? Thank you. All right. Just cut it right on the roll like that, and you have yourself a half piece. We're going to do one more little, let's do another half piece right over here. Everybody doing okay out there?
Yes!
All right.
They're saying such a stunning card. Can't wait to try blending on glitter cardstock. And it seems that we have learned a big lesson today, that you can put your cap right here.
Oh, I knew that.
Yes!
Yes.
Some people saw it and said, I did not know that's where the cap
Oh,
goes.
okay. I thought you were saying you learned that today.
Oh, no.
Yes, your cap can go there, and then you can cap it when you're done using it for your for the day, and then take it off during your crafty session. Okay, there we go. A couple more little gems to add. I'm gonna add a little glitter drop in the center of all of my poinsettias. I've got my pick and place tool, and go ahead and pick that up with the wax tip and just place it right down on top of the drop of adhesive. Nothing wrong with adding even more glitter.
More sparkle!
Yes, I probably should have put this on the card base before I put those glitter drops on, because it's a little bit difficult to put the adhesive around the edges with the glitter drops on there, but I think I can manage. And then I'll just put a few in the center of the card here. Gotta shift them back into place. They weren't quite dry yet. Okay, place that down on the card base. There we go. Ta-da! We made a Christmas card. We're getting ready for the season on World Card Making Day. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me pop back on here, and we will say farewell and get you off to enjoy the rest of your World Card Making Day. So have fun today. Enjoy the rest of the live sponsored by Scrapbooking Cards today. I hope you learn a lot about new techniques and new products and ways that you can share joy with your hobby that brings you so much joy. So don't forget, use your coupon code WCMD with TE to get a free pack of glitter cardstock. That's good only through the end of the day today, 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So you can find all of that at tailoredexpressions.com.